Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rocker Dog Podcast, the only podcast that talks to musicians about their dogs. I'm your host, Tim Dill, under the constant supervision of my dog, Charlie, and this week we have a thoroughly enjoyable conversation with singer-songwriters Garrison Starr and Sean McConnell, who together make up the super duo My Sister, My Brother. They've just released their second LP together, aptly called My Sister, My Brother 2, and these are their 3 rocker dogs.
Well, Tim, I would like for you to be introduced to my 2 rocker dogs, Gracie and Oreo. In fact, look at this shirt. Look at this shirt I had made. I have 2 of them.
Oh,
this
nice.
is Gracie,
Oh my gosh.
and then I made one for Oreo, too.
That's excellent.
Did
And
you
what did their...
wear that for today, Garrison?
Well, to be totally honest with you, I slept in it. So I'm still... I rolled out of bed. I haven't even brushed my teeth. I rolled out of bed into the studio, and I still have all my clothes from last night, with the exception of this flannel, obviously.
It is early for you. It is non-rockstar hours. What kind of dogs are Oreo and Gracie, and how old are they?
Okay, they're both around 9 and 9.5. Oreo is a 12-pound Puggle, and we adopted her from my partner's dying grandmother, who had Oreo for 3 years, and then now we've had her for about 6.
Okay.
And then Gracie, we adopted from Barks and Bitches here in Los Angeles, and she's about 9.5, and she's a mutt. She's a mix of 5 things. We did the DNA test because I was convinced that she was a Australian Shepherd Border Collie mix, and she's neither of those things.
That might be a good thing.
Yeah, well, no. Listen to these persnickety breeds. She is a German Shepherd, Husky, Dalmatian, Chow, Cocker Spaniel. So annoying.
Okay.
Wow.
Very
You know what I
interesting.
mean?
Yeah,
Total
yeah.
persnicks. Like she's a nervous Purvis. She's just, you know how Huskies just talk back? You've seen those memes where
Yep.
they're like, rah, rah. Like she's very much like just a barker, you know? It's hard to get a hold of. But she's, you know, once you imprint on her, then she's your friend for life. But it takes a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And Sean, how about you? Who do you have with us today?
Tim, my rocker dog's name is Starr, which I did not name after one of my best friend Garrison Starr, but now that we're on a Zoom together, it kind of feels appropriate.
That was going to be my follow-up question immediately.
My daughter named her, and she's 2.5 years old. She's a Jackahuahua, as we've come to find out. She is an adopted dog, and we didn't really know her exact breed, but she's I guess a Jack Russell Chihuahua mix.
Okay.
And she's the best.
Okay. It's interesting because looking at her, I wasn't sure. I always immediately go to Chihuahua. It seems like there's a lot of Chihuahuas out there, especially in the music world, surprisingly. But she had
Really?
certain characteristics where I couldn't really nail down. And I'm no expert. I'm just a dog lover, so I just have to kind of get my information as it comes.
Tim, I'm also open to your opinion. If there's a differing thought, we're not tied to her being a Jackahuahua. My mind's open.
And that's the first time I've heard that Jackahuahua combination, so I'm perfectly happy with it and
It's a
prefer.
fun
Did you
one.
make that up? Did you make it up?
That's a thing, and now we can't stop saying it. This is our
A
Jackahuahua.
Jackahuahua. I
Yeah.
didn't know y'all did the DNA test on her.
No, we didn't. Well, I misspoke. We didn't get her tested. By
Okay.
our own research, our best guess is a Jackahuahua.
Oh, roger that. Well, I'd
Yeah.
say that's a pretty good guess. She does look like a Jackahuahua.
Yeah.
You need to take a photo of her and then put it into the Google photo where the Google searches by photo, and then it'll pull up all the similar breeds.
Oh.
Tim, you've been doing this for a while.
No, actually, I just did that yesterday with a shelter dog because I had never heard of it before, Cane Corso, which I had heard of it. I just didn't know what they look like.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, they're kind of mastiff. They're a mastiff kind of breed, but it looks nothing. I won't get into that. It looks nothing like a mastiff.
Okay.
Anyways, okay, moving on. I'm always curious to know the context of how these animals came into your life. So, in particular, Oreo, Gracie, and Starr. So, what was going on in your lives, in your career, when you go back to adopting these girls? We're all girls, aren't we today? Star, Oreo,
Yeah.
Gracie. Okay, yeah.
Can I go first? Because I really have been dying to tell this story and was hoping that I would get the opportunity to do so.
Definitely.
Yes.
So I told you we adopted Oreo from Renee's grandmother who was passing away with cancer. So she was not expected. We were not going to get another dog. But so with Gracie, my partner Renee had just lost her 14-year-old golden retriever who she was splitting with her ex. And so that dog had just passed and she was really sad. And of course, I was like, I want a dog. I'd been dying to get a dog. Let's get a dog. Let's get a dog. You don't want me to be happy. You're just trying to punish me, you know? And she's like, okay, I'm trying to get over my loss. You know, you don't understand when you get the dog that we're not going to be able to travel. I mean, it's going to be a whole thing. I'm like, whatever, let's get a dog, whatever. So we start looking at Pet Finder for German Shepherd rescues. We wanted a German Shepherd. But I fully in my heart believed that when I saw my dog, I would know it. Like when I saw it and knew which one was supposed to be mine, like I would recognize the dog. I really believed that in my heart. Mm-hmm. So at the time we were going through this, like my partner and I, Renee, we were having a hard time. And I just remember the day that Gracie came to us on the Pet Finder, Renee had said to me, literally, I just need some fucking grace from you. And I was like, oh, like, and I realized like how much lately, like grace I have been given. And I'm like, oh gosh, people have given me a shit ton of grace. Like that means something. I should mark this. So I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to sit with that. So I go to my session, I pull open my computer and I'm looking on Pet Finder and all of a sudden I see this dog. One ear down, one ear up, sitting at the top, sitting down there looking. And I was like, I know that dog. Because we had opened up our search beyond German Shepherds because I wasn't finding it. So I see this dog and I'm like, I know that dog. I know that dog. So I immediately start reading this fucking dog story. Her name is Gracie.
That's awesome. I love it. Her
name is Gracie. And I forwarded it to my partner. I said, listen, Renee, you get on board. This is our dog. Like I read the story. So really quick, Gracie had been locked in a crate with a padlock on it and dumped at a dog park, like right around the 4th of July.
Wow.
So we adopted her right around then, but it was just, I couldn't believe it. Like, I mean, I knew I would know, but when I saw her, I knew. And then her story, and it was like Gracie. I just think that's miraculous.
I've never heard that story. That's amazing, Garrison.
Yeah. So.
Right, Sean, can you top that with Star's origins?
I don't know if I can top it. So Star is super new to us, obviously, with her age, but we got her, I'm trying to think the sequence of events. Basically, we had 2 dogs before Star. Sarah, who was 18 when she died, so she had a very long life, and I've been married, it'll be 19 years coming up, and she was with us, almost all of that time.
Wow.
And then our dog Arthur, who was 8 when he passed just a couple years ago, who was a Cocker Spaniel and was a amazing dog, especially with my wife and our daughter, and like when I'm on the road, being in the mix, not only a guard dog but companionship. And so these were huge parts of our family that passed away. Sarah passed away probably 4 or 5 months of us not having a dog, and then my wife starting to feel like I really need a dog in our lives, and me being cautious because that heartbreak is so intense and jumping back into that. So it was we're very much gut, the universe will tell you when something's supposed to happen, people, and we were open to a new dog, and we were just looking for dogs that needed homes right away. And as soon as my wife saw, it's kind of like what you were saying, Garrison, it was like as soon as she saw, well, actually I shouldn't say that, when she saw this sibling group, which was Star, then I can't remember her name, and her brother, who both came to our place, but we were only allowed to adopt one for I can't remember the reason for the agency. So we had both of them in our house for 2 days, and initially we were kind of gravitating towards the other puppy. And then like slowly little things were happening where we're like, I think it's this one. And she was like, yeah, I think it's this one too. Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then the clincher was we took now Star to pick up my daughter at school. My daughter's in a wheelchair. the minute we put Star out of her crate, she crawled up into Avy's lap, my daughter Avy's lap, in her chair, stayed there for the whole drive, like the mile and a half back to our house, and then like basically wouldn't get out of her lap even while we were like wheeling her through the yard and up into the house. And we were like, yep, this is the one.
That's
and
great.
The love affair began.
Oh,
That's great. I think if you're a dog person, you give dogs a lot of credit for being super smart dogs and having this sixth sense. But just as you described, do you think the dog has a sixth sense of how to, measure personalities and people's needs?
Absolutely.
Especially for a young dog, being so gentle with your daughter.
Yeah. I think it's all, I think everything's energy, and we all sense energy in different ways. And I feel like even though Star is a puppy, there was something she was sensing, and vice versa. And I think that's how we find our friend groups and people we love and things we love to do. I think it's all energy. And I think dogs are so good, extra good at picking up on that stuff.
Yeah, I hear that.
well, if you think about it, I mean, they don't have words to communicate. So they have their own little language that's based purely, to your point, it's based purely on instinct.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool,
Yeah.
but they've learned to communicate with us that way,
Yeah.
And Star is also a sibling to two pigs and chickens. Is that true?
Two pigs, yes. And the chickens, we did chickens for about 8 years, and we're too emotionally attached to our pets for chickens, because it's just, there's a lot of chickens gone missing, and it was not worth it for us anymore. But the pigs are still our pets and are massive and lead very good lives.
That's great. That's great. I'll save that. I'll save that for another episode. But I love I keep seeing those pop up more and more, that people, and I know you don't have them necessarily as pets. They have their own like outdoor living space and kind of a farm setup, more or less. Correct?
Yeah. Just pets in the sense of we're not growing them for food.
Yeah, you're
They're-
not.
They're our,
Yeah.
they're our friends.
Yeah. And I've seen a couple artists that are getting I think they're counting on them being smaller pigs, but they're indoor pets that live amongst their dogs. So as you can imagine, it's hard to research dogs and artists. It's not like your Wikipedia page is going to say, give me anything. So I go to social media and try to, pick out some things I see. And luckily Garrison is giving a lot of different good quotes and posts. So I'm going to start with Garrison, and then we'll kind of move those questions to Sean. But Garrison, you have this thing of Sunday gratitude stories.
Oh, yeah.
And I was lucky enough to land on the one that was about home and the joys of being home and the joys of having your dogs there. And you said, when I'm feeling down and don't know what to do, they're always right there to show me the way. So I think we can assume, but how so? How so do these dogs kind of show you the way to, a better place mentally or physically?
Gosh, Tim, you're good at this, man. So I would say, well, first of all, Gracie has a lot of anxiety, as do I. And when we first got her, when she and I were on a walk one morning, we were attacked by this other dog that lives in the neighborhood and got off his leash, and his owner's kind of a dipshit, and the dog just ran up and started attacking Gracie, and we kind of went through that experience together. And to be honest, that's one of my biggest fears. That was one of my biggest fears about walking the dog, is being attacked by a dog. So it happened. And, it may sound silly, but we got through that experience together. Like, she was afraid to go walking. I was afraid to go walking. For a while, my wife went walking. And then she was like, look, I love you, and I'm going to give you some time to get over this, but I can't be the only person walking. So I'm like, you're right. I got to get over it. So Gracie helped me face my fears about being out there. And I just feel like she and I are similar in personality, in a way,
Right.
And so she's taught me a lot about being a leader and being the calm, assertive person. And she's also taught me a lot about what I can handle. So many times I think, well, I can't do this and I can't handle that. And there's Gracie, and I have to handle it because there's nobody else to handle it. Like, when new people come over, we have a routine we have to do, and it's a pain in the ass, but we have to do it. And I used to have such anxiety about it. And now I realize, okay, I can take care of myself. I can take care of this dog that we have who's part of our family. So, and then Oreo is just unconditionally loving. I mean, she's the sweetest animal I've ever come in contact with. And just, she's always there to just love you and remind you that, everything's okay. Look at us. We're a family and we have a really good life and we love each other. And I don't know, they've helped me a lot with my gratitude and just to calm me down, you know, and to give me something to take care of. I mean, I think I'm self-conscious about saying this, but it's like, these dogs are our kids. We don't want kids. We don't, we're not going to have them. So we're the people that are like, you're growing up and like, oh, they just think their dog is a person. Like, okay, that's us. I'm the person my mom made fun of my whole life. Like, we are those people. But it does make a difference to have something to focus on besides yourself. To be of service in some way to somebody or something else has really changed me a lot. So I understand why that process is important, to just not be thinking about yourself 24 hours a day, which is what I was doing before. So, and what I have a tendency to do. So.
Well, on that note, Sean, with a special needs child, you obviously don't suffer from having too much focus on yourself. You've got to give focus to your child. So what kind of role, would you say Starr plays in, I guess, in your life in general, or, just in helping you mentally?
I think the biggest thing, which, it sounds cliche because I feel like everyone feels this way about, I feel like a lot of people feel this way about pets in general, but just a reminder to be present, how they always are just in the present moment, which often is like, I just want to have fun. Like they want like real interaction, like look at me, play with me, like let's wrestle, let's do this, like, which especially for artists, I feel like constantly, I can speak for myself, but for a lot of people I know, our brains are constantly like it's almost your job, not even the business side of things, but just to be in a place where you can capture that muse when she wants to show up and do your thing, and you are in your head so much. And dogs, so Starr for me it's a huge reminder to like play, be present, don't just like tug a sock while you're on the phone, like look at me and be in this moment. And she's very grounding for me and reminds me to have fun and to be like more lighthearted. Even if it's been a hard day, they bring that into the house so naturally. It's such a beautiful gift.
Yeah. I listened to an episode of your wife's podcast, Mama Bear, that she talked to you, and it was about needing to, not feeling guilty to take a break. And sometimes you do have to walk away, and it's hard to walk away when it's, you always want to give attention to where you think it needs to be. So, does Starr ever offer that, just is walking Starr kind of your break of your cup of coffee, when you need 5, 10, 15 minutes to, to yourself?
She can be that. I mean, often in those moments, it's solitude is kind of what I seek. But versions of that. Taking Starr out for a walk or just out to the lawn, watching her run around and, get her energy out. And that is one of those moments for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Garrison, I have the next question. Actually, I had Glenn Phillips on, and you guys were touring at the time, and he mentioned you, and he said that your puppy taught you how to regulate your own emotions. The context of that was, he said you grew up in a family that, if there was a disagreement or argument, no one shied away from it. It was full on combat and escalated. So tell me a little bit about that dynamic. Which dog, is he referring to, and how does that dog kind of teach you to regulate your own emotions?
Well, it's Gracie that he's talking about. And by the way, when he was one of the first people to meet her, and she bit off part of his flip-flop. So it's like he was in the trenches with Gracie at the beginning when he first came to meet her. But I would say, back to the anxiety thing and just learning how, I grew up in evangelicalism and had a terrible experience with that, as most people do. And I, my mom and I were always at each other's throats. There was never really any sort of, oh, tell me why you feel that way, or let's talk about your feel. My dad just kind of was over here, like tiptoeing out of the room, and my mom and I were just yelling at each other all the time. So I would say that maybe what he means by that is just like, back to learning how to trust myself, because there was just always so much coming at me in terms of like, trying to figure out, am I okay? Like, what did they just say? Is that right? Is that wrong? Like, so much of my existence up to this point, to be honest, has been about survival, emotional survival. And that's how Gracie is. She survived to make it to our family. And it's like trying to teach her, hey, we got you. You don't need to go through all this. You don't need to be yelling about all this stuff. Like, we've got you. We are in control. You can just chill and follow us around and let us lead you, And I don't know, it's funny because I've never really wanted to be a leader, but I am one. That's what I've realized. It's like, leadership has been following me around my entire life, and I've been like, get out. And I realized, like, I am a leader, and I can do that. I am strong enough to lead myself. I'm strong enough to stand in my body and in my shoes. I'm strong enough to lead this dog and this family. I can do this. So actually, when I think about it, it's like, wait, what's that movie? It's, Remember the Titans? When it's one of my favorite movies. When Denzel Washington's like talking to the football player in that moment, he's like, I had 11 brothers and sisters. I had to take care of every single one of them when everybody died. You could do this. And then the guy's like, you had 11 brothers and sisters? He's like, no, but I had to make a point. It's like when you're called to step up in a moment, if you're the only person there to step up in a situation, well, it's like, necessity is the mother of invention for a reason. You have to do it or it doesn't work. So I think that maybe is what he meant. He's so sweet. I just got back from his wedding, actually. He got married in Santa Barbara over the weekend. It was really beautiful on Sunday.
Oh, awesome.
So mazel tov, Glenn, wherever you are.
Mazel tov.
I'm sure he's listening to the podcast.
Right now, as we're recording it.
Live.
Okay, on a lighter note, I sensed that there was a couple of kind of either funny stories or a bit of drama with each of you guys. And Sean, you gave kind of a eulogy to Arthur when he passed. And at one point, did Arthur pee in your brand new guitar case?
Oh my God. Dude, Tim, you are not messing around with this podcast, bro.
It's so great. I'm such a fan.
Your research is amazing. This is so much fun.
I know.
Well, thank you.
Yes. One moment that does stick out with Arthur is I was like, you know what? I'm touring a lot this year. I'm going to spend like some serious money on this guitar case because I'm going to be flying. So I hadn't had that case in the house. After months of like hemming and hawing and picking, that case was not in my house for 10 minutes. I had opened it up. I was like admiring it. I was feeling it. I left the room. I came back and Arthur had just completely emptied his entire bladder inside my new guitar case. I was so angry. It was maybe one of the more angry moments of my life, which sounds hilarious and stupid, but it was so. Well, I assume
that was completely out of his character, no?
Yeah. It was really random.
Do you think he equates that with? He probably equates that with leaving, because I've had an artist before say when the suitcase came out, the dog would poop in it.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been something like that because it was very weird. It was very weird for him. But
funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay, and then Garrison, all I got was a skunk incident with Gracie.
Oh, that's the thing I was going to say. I was
going to say if you've got a better story,
my way.
If you got a better story, I'm open to it. But that's just what I found.
It was pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty good story. It's basically Gracie we have a little hill up behind our house that goes up to an old abandoned reservoir, and Gracie used to like to get out and go up the hill, and there's coyotes up there. I mean, one morning a huge coyote was in our front yard, and Gracie was like, rah, and ran it off. We were like, oh my God, that could be a decoy, So anyway, she's just balls to the wall. And so she went up to explore one night, and she came back like covered in I was like, somebody's poured gasoline on my dog. I went to Renee and I were fighting at this time, and I was like, somebody poured Vaseline. She was like, this smells like shit. What are we gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. Somebody poured gas on our dog, and I'm gonna find out who did it. Who the did this? And so finally, because I had never smelled a skunk smell like the liquid skunk. Man, it literally smelled like somebody had burned up like oil, like motor oil, and then like turned it into a liquid and spread it all over her face. I mean, it was horrible. Like, Renee's yelling at me. We're like, are we going to get the tomato juice or the fucking baking soda? I'm like, I don't know what to do. She's like, ah! And meanwhile, Gracie's panting uncontrollably, dripping with this, like, skunk or whatever. So we had to, like,
my God.
It was fucking horrible. Like, she looked like she was so disoriented. It was so terrible. And Renee and I were just screaming at each other. And I don't even remember what happened next. But we did some kind of concoction. There's, like, either a tomato juice thing or a baking soda thing. And we went with the baking soda thing. And it took weeks. I mean, it was devastating. It was so devastating. It was the worst smell I've ever smelled. But to be honest, was just grateful that it wasn't one of our neighbors. Because I just thought, well, we've moved in here and they're gay bashing us or whatever. They hate us, and it's like, nobody, nobody was boys don't cry in us. It was like a skunk, so that was good for me to know.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I wrap up the show with what I call the Zoomies, and those are just 5 quick questions. But I want to warn you, Garrison, I don't give the warning ahead of time, but I make this family-friendly content, so I beep out any profanities.
Sorry.
But I do have a swear jar, so you're going to be in for about $100 to your favorite charity.
Oh, okay, great.
I'm kidding with that, but I do. I am starting a swear jar to do a donation, but swear all you want, because I bark it out with my dogs.
Okay, I bark it out. Tim, I fucking love you. Oh, sorry. I wish we lived in the same place. But no, I would like to donate some money to charity. Please, will you let me know where I can send my swear jar? I'll do it. I would love to do that.
I will do. Okay, we'll go Garrison and then Sean. The first question is, do you kiss your dogs on the mouth?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Good. We'll leave it at that. Question 2 is, does your dog have a theme song? Is there either a song that personifies him or a song that reminds you of him when you got, I say him, her, when you got her that was popular at the time? Any song that kind of points to your dog? I
mean, I have one that I made up.
That's good. Can you share?
We got to hear it.
I do doodly do. I do do do. I do doodly do. I do do.
That was beautiful.
No words?
No, it's just a vibe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a vibe.
All right, that's a good vibe.
That is a good vibe. I can't top that. I have no song. I haven't created one, and I want to come up with one on the spot, but I don't have one. Such a boring answer. Okay.
It's funny. The second question always, it never goes the way it's as planned, so I keep changing it. Regardless, question 3 is, if you took your dog on tour, what would you include in the tour rider for them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would probably include like some kind of organic treat. Like an organic, like an organic greenie they could chew on, or like, a little chewy treat.
Are you particular and pay close attention to your dog's diet?
Well, we are, just because so much of that food is processed stuff. Like so much of it is just gross. And those greenies, I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know. I'm just saying in general, that idea of a greenie type thing, they seem to be kind of plasticky.
Yeah.
So I've just looked for stuff that doesn't have plastic in it or weird stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How about you, Sean?
I would probably do something like provide us an area where this dog can like go run their booty off for a while, because Star really does need, like, we have some land and it's far away enough from stuff in the back that she can just run, and for the road to work she would need to run. So like either a map to an area so we could easily get there, or someone that could like facilitate such a thing. That's probably what we would need for that to happen.
It sounds indicative to a Jack Russell. So yeah, very, very active. Question 4 is, do you use a dog voice to speak to your dog, or do you give a dog voice to your dog to, kind of animate them?
I do both. I kind of I'll get into the dog voice sometimes. I don't know.
Just a high-pitched baby voice, or is it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think so. What are you doing? Oh, you better come over here. that kind of thing.
And then when you give them a voice, what's the distinct personality for each? Is one a Spicoli and another,
I don't know what Gracie is, but I feel like Oreo is like, hello, my name is Ori, and I'm in Iowa, and then I flew to California, and I didn't know if I liked it at first, and but now I really love it, and hello, my name is Ori. I'm a safety inspector.
That was commitment, Garrison. You're so good.
And thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I let a lot of artists off the hook to do that, but more and more I'm thinking you're a performer.
Get on it.
Give it to us.
Give it to us.
Sean.
I think Sean. There's probably times where I kind of do like a sweeter puppy talk thing, but I think generally I kind of talk to her honestly like a human. That's kind of
as a peer.
And when if I'm like really trying to get through to her, I might get like a little quiet, a little more intentional. But there's probably times I am like baby talking to her and getting excited about something. I don't know why when I do a star voice, I feel like I gravitate towards like a male character, even though she's female. But it's normally something like, oh yeah, oh shoot, I'm gonna like totally turn it up. Oh yeah, this is the best. Life's awesome right now. I'm running like that.
I love that. I think that's awesome.
I'm going to take this video and put it to the picture of your dog. Oops.
Please.
Were we supposed to send in pictures? I missed that memo. I didn't know we were supposed to send in pictures. That totally makes sense. Can I still do that?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
This will be up in another month. So yeah, and actually that was something I was going to do off mic, but we'll do it right now. But I need pictures of both of you with your dogs, so if that's possible.
Okay, thanks.
We'll get that. Have your people send it to my people. Okay. Last but not least, is there a dog organization, or it could be a rescue, it could be a groomer, it could be a walker, it could be anything. Anybody who helps you in any way that you want to give a shout out to.
Oh man. Well, my first instinct would be the ASPCA, because we've had to go. I mean, Oreo used to escape when she first got here because she'd been on an electric fence with Renee's grandmother. So she would just go. I think what happened is she'd follow a trail and it'd go through a fence, and then she'd just get out. And so, long story short, one time I came home and she had gotten loose, and one of our neighbors had immediately taken her to the ASPCA. So,
great.
We went and picked her up, and they were nice. And so I would just give them a shout out.
All right. That works.
Nice.
Sean, anyone come to mind?
I'm going to have to ask my wife the name of this organization because it escapes me, but maybe if you have show notes or somewhere you can put it. I know it's a Nashville-based organization that we found Starr through and adopted her through. So I can provide that name. That would be my choice, but unfortunately, it's not at the top of my head.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I usually get the information and put it in my outro. So yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I'll make a note to give you that as well as the picture.
Okay. Just one last question. I noticed, again, this goes to Garrison's Instagram, but she had one where there was just a question was the picture, and it said, is there a nicer feeling than being in a room full of people and a dog chooses to come and sit next to you?
Oh, what a great quote, Garrison.
It is. I mean, think about that. It's like, when you even last night, I was sitting on the couch just watching the Righteous Gemstones, which, by the way, if y'all have not seen the Righteous Gemstones, you have got to watch it. It's on Max anyway.
Yep.
Whatever that is. But last night I was sitting there watching TV, and she just got so excited. She ran over to me and then just sat there and was doing her little stretch, and she just wanted to hang out. She wanted me to pet her, and she wanted to hang out with me. And I went and told Renee, I was like, oh my God, it's so nice. It's just such a sweet, I don't know. I just love that. I think that's so sweet,
Yeah.
That is sweet.
Sean, you concur.
Do I concur with that feeling? Absolutely, yeah. Especially too if you're at a gathering and you've never met this dog. Let's say there's 20 people or something, and they pick you that they feel comfortable enough to just kind of snuggle up next to you, and it kind of takes you by surprise. That's a whole other level of that too. It's fun. Yeah,
that's kind of what I took away from that post. It's I want to be in a room full of whatever friends, but the dog is a stranger, and the dog picks me.
Yeah.
It's because talk about energy. Dogs can smell all that. They can smell the cool person they want to be with. So you're doing something right.
Yeah. Well, Garrison and Sean, thank you so much for taking the time, and especially for the quick reschedule we had to do. This was a blast, and I can't thank you enough. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Tim. I had a great time too. This was awesome.
Thank you so much, and best of luck with everything in 2023 and beyond.
You too, man. We hope to see you again.
All right. Much gratitude to Garrison Starr and Sean McConnell for sharing their dogs with us. Their new LP, My Sister, My Brother 2, is out now and available everywhere you stream or buy music. Our shout-outs this week go to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, better known as the ASPCA, who were founded on the belief that animals are entitled to kind and respectful treatment at the hands of humans and must be protected under the law. To find out the many ways in which you can support their cause, go to aspca.org. Sean did get back to us with the name of his, which is Wags and Walks, who are a dedicated community of dog lovers whose main goal is to break the stigma around rescue dogs and decrease the number of dogs euthanized in local shelters by proving that you can rescue wonderful pups of all breeds, sizes, and temperaments. To donate, adopt, foster, or volunteer, visit wagsandwalks.org. Thank you for listening to the show. If you like what you hear, please give us a rating and review on iTunes. Rumor has it, it helps get the show exposure, so any interaction would be appreciated. Please join us again next week for another great new episode featuring the dog of the first female artist to win The Voice. That was back in 2012, 11 years ago. All right, I'm getting serious side-eye from Charlie. That means time is up. We'll see you next week.